revelation from a supernal realm. Indeed, his view is almost mechanistic in its outlook. Water the garden of greed and you get greedier. Nourish the saplings of compassion, and eventually they grow instead. Such is the core of the Buddha's Four Noble Truths, that suffering exists, that clinging, craving desire is its cause, that it is possible to end suffering, and that there is a systematic, step-by-step, empirically verifiable process for doing so, known as the Eightfold Path. From that root, as we've already noted, 1,000 branches have spread. Quickly, this Dharma, this teaching, this way, became what its founder claimed it wasn't, an ideology, even a religion. Indeed, quite quickly, entire sects of Buddhism arose based on rejecting the Eightfold Path itself. It's too difficult, these schools said, so we must appeal to the grace of semi-divine beings instead and hope that they will help us. Or, it's only for some people and not for the rest of us. Or, it really was supernatural after all. As the teaching spread throughout Asia, they merged with diverse religious and cultural contexts, developing beautiful art and fighting unfortunate battles. Different sects arose emphasizing one or another of the 8 practices, focusing on emptiness or transcending logic or perfecting virtue, or even recognizing that the end of suffering, liberation, nirvana, the whole grand prize, is actually available right now in your original perfect mind. And yet, even in these different iterations of Buddhism, much of the core teaching remained, cultivating the mind with the goal of liberation from suffering. So, while we'll get into the sectarian distinction soon enough, let's stay for a moment with that basic evolutionary problem, that we are hardwired for attitudes and behaviors that make us unhappy. What is to be done? Many answers are possible. We could distract ourselves with as much fun and stuff and intoxication as possible so that we avoid as much unpleasantness as we can. Or we could believe some stories about why suffering is justified, or how it's temporary, or how it will be rewarded in some way after we die. We could draw consolation from philosophy, or relationships, or creativity. All of these have been tried by hundreds of millions of people, and if they work for you, that's great. Really. The Buddhist notion that we're going to explore here, however, is to change the wiring. I've called the human propensities toward greed and aversion hardwired, but it turns out that's not quite an accurate metaphor. Actually, the mind can change. The brain can change. By installing new software, new habits, new ways of thinking, you can change the hardware. This isn't magic or even mysticism. It's exercise. Although the Buddha did not understand the brain scientifically, he did understand the mind experientially. It is possible, he found, to upgrade your mind through the practice of meditation, just as today you might upgrade your biceps by doing curls at the gym. For example, by focusing the attention on a fixed object, the mind is gathered together, concentrated, and calmed. It builds greater capacity to control itself, to not wander off or chase the impulses that naturally arise. Today, as we'll see in the next chapter, we have some hard scientific data to buttress these empirical claims, and this has enormous potential. There are, in fact, many practices in Buddhist traditions oriented toward this optimizing of the mental faculties. The ones we will focus on here, again in my Theravadan lineage, are meditation, bhavana, and mindfulness, sati, both of which were defined, provisionally at least, in the introduction. If you like, you can think of meditation as a focused form of mindfulness, or mindfulness as an expanded form of meditation. Both have in common the steady, regular cultivation of a kind of noticing or witnessing mind that, in its non-reactivity, exists in opposition to the usual fight or flight tendencies we all have. Tellingly, the word bhavana actually means development, not spirituality or mysticism, but the development of mental faculties, which we now understand neurologically as well. Now, in this Theravadan Buddhist context, the aim is not merely to build large mental muscles, but to exercise them in a particular way. This is where Buddhism diverges from the evolving secular Dharma of the West. In traditional contexts, bhavana is not meant to reduce stress or improve immune function, but to generate insight. Specifically, in this tradition, intuitive understandings that transitory phenomena are impermanent, not ultimately satisfactory, and interdependent with everything else. Trying to hold on to any one of these phenomena, my car, my spouse, my sense of self, may work for a while, but it will eventually lead to dukkha, suffering. Yet despite these differing approaches, as others have noted,